From the ballpark in Arlington, Texas, NESN presents exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball. Tonight, the Red Sox take on the Texas Rangers. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. The fourth and final game against the Texas Rangers. The Red Sox are 3-3 on the road trip, and they hope to go home with a winning record. Of course, tonight, Pedro Martinez on the mound.
Well, Pedro's been absolutely outstanding for the Red Sox, and he's going to have to be again tonight because this Texas Ranger ball club right now is swinging the bat very well. The last outing for Pedro was against the Anaheim Angels. 9 strikeouts in that ball game against Anaheim, and of course, they're the toughest team in the league to strike out. What a tremendous month of July that has been for Martinez. Of course, he was elected pitcher of the month for July. 5-0, 0.64 ERA. All those strikeouts, only 9 walks in 42 in the third innings. And on the road this season, 7-1 with a 1.63. That's the best ERA in the major leagues of any pitcher. He is also 10-1 after Red Sox losses. They really need Petey to come up big tonight in this ball game. Go home with a winning record on this road trip.
Well, another hot night. It's Sunday Night Baseball from Arlington as the Red Sox have Pedro Martinez on the mound. He's done well against everybody, but especially Texas. 5-1. He goes up against Aaron Mayette, who struggled this year in 2 starts in his career against Boston. No record. Back with the starting lineups in the first pitch after this. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the ballpark in Arlington, Texas, on what is another warm evening in Texas. The final game of the 4-game series between the Red Sox and the Rangers, and the Red Sox with a chance to go home with the winning record. Take a look at the visiting Boston starting lineup. Johnny Damon in center field leads it off. Trot Nixon in right with Nomar Garciaparra at shortstop. Cliff Floyd will bat 4th in the cleanup spot tonight. Jason Varitek bats 5th, doing the catching. Hillenbrand at 3rd over the last 7 games, on fire at .448. Brian Daubach, the DH, bats 7th. Tony Clark will bat 8th at first base, and Ray Sanchez back in there tonight, bats 9th.
The defense tonight for the Rangers, they're 8th in the league, 65 errors in 110 games. Herbert Perry will be at 3rd base. Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop. Michael Young at 2nd, and Rafael Palmeiro at 1st. Left to right, Carl Everett, Ruben Rivera, and Kevin Mench. Bill Hasselman gets the start behind the plate. And on the mound, right-hander Aaron Mayette. 0-3 on the season, a 10.42 ERA. His last 2 starts, he's been knocked out very early in the 3rd inning against Seattle. Last time against New York, only lasted 3 2/3, 7 hits and 6 earned runs. He was called back from the minor leagues and put into the rotation when Dave Verber was let go by the Texas Rangers. The Red Sox have faced him twice. They have no record against him. A couple of no decisions for Mayette, a former member of the White Sox organization.
And the umpiring crew tonight, Ron Barnes has a plate. Mike Riley at 1st, Jeff Kellogg at 2nd, and Eric Cooper, the umpire, at 3rd. Well, again, a very warm night tonight in Texas. We had a 44,000 crowd here last night. It looks like it is a lighter gathering, at least to begin the ball game tonight. And we bring you Sunday Night Baseball from Texas, where the Rangers play all night games virtually during the year, and largely because of the high temperatures down here in Texas. Johnny Damon's ready in the first pitch of the ball game. Missing for ball 1 to Damon. Johnny was 3 for 4 with a double, a home run, and 2 runs driven in here last night. Now riding a 7-game hitting streak is Damon at .375. Mayette, as Jerry mentioned, started off in the White Sox organization. Originally a first-round pick of the White Sox in 1997. And came over to Texas for Royce Clayton. Deal that took place during the offseason prior to the 2001 season. Last year made 15 starts for the Texas Rangers, 19 appearances overall, and finished up at 4-5 last year. And this year looking for his first win in a Rangers uniform.
Jerry Narron's going to leave him in the starting rotation the remainder of the season. They've got to find out if this kid can do it at the major league level. He's had terrific numbers at AAA, but has struggled in the big leagues.
Jerry Narron in his 2nd season at the helm of the Texas Rangers. Damon able to get the walk to begin things here in the top of the 1st inning.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's game notes brought to you by Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Pedro and Derek Lowe, 29 wins, second most between two pitchers in the major leagues. Damon home run in 3 straight games. The first time in his career he's done that. Of course, that coming right here in Arlington, Texas. And the Ranger batters, 153 home runs, second in the big leagues to the Yankees. The Yankees have 165, and the Yankees right now are tied up with Anaheim in the 11th inning in a 5-5 ball game.
Here's Trot Nixon, who bats second tonight in the Boston order with Johnny Damon at first. Nobody out. And that'll miss outside. We're just talking about Pedro Martinez and Derek Lowe have combined for 29 wins. The only other combination, Kurt Schilling with 18, Randy Johnson with 15. Arizona, they have the most wins between two pitchers. They've got 33. But still very impressive between the work of Pedro Martinez and Derek Lowe as they have combined for 29. Pedro hopes to make it 30 tonight.
Right now, Mayette can't throw a strike. He tried the breaking ball there to get a strike. Couldn't do it. Didn't miss by very much. Didn't get much help from Cooper behind the plate.
Over and Damon's back in plenty of time.
Let me correct myself. That is Barnes behind the plate tonight.
Well, the 2-0 to Nixon is up and away, and Mayette, who walked Johnny Damon to begin his outing, has fallen behind Nixon 3-0. And it'll bring Bill Hasselman out to talk to Mayette, the former Red Sox catcher. You remember Bill Hasselman caught the second 20K game for Roger Clemens in Detroit, and Hasselman has been backing up Ivan Rodriguez, which most of the time you don't get a lot of playing time, but with Ivan Rodriguez hurt a lot of this year, he has seen some time. And he gets the nod tonight in the final game of the series. Nixon taking all the way. It's a 4-pitch walk for Nixon. Back-to-back walks to begin the outing for Aaron Mayette.
Well, that has been a problem for him. That's 15 walks now in 19 innings to go along with the 20 strikeouts. The opponents have hit 329 off him in his 6 games, and now this being his 5th start. Oral Hershiser, the pitching coach, one step up on the dugout, maybe getting ready to make a visit.
Oscar Acosta had been the pitching coach here, fired earlier in the year, and Will Hershiser taking over as the pitching coach. Here's Nomar, who has to twist out of the way of that pitch inside. Garciaparra 2 for 5 of the runs scored here last night, and is 6 for 14 so far in the series. That is 6-7 straight balls thrown by Aaron Mayette. The final pitch to Damon, a 4-pitch walk to Nixon. Now Nomar Garciaparra ahead 2-0. Look out. That got him. Garciaparra will reach on the hit batsman. And a very difficult beginning for Aaron Mayette. The Red Sox last night had the bases loaded, nobody out against Kenny Rogers in the first inning and could not score. Hopefully their fate will be better tonight as Clifford Floyd makes his way to the plate, and out of the dugout comes Oral Hershiser.
No, not Hershiser. Looks like the manager, Jerry Narron. So apparently Jerry not real happy with what's going on. Well, that's an understatement. I mean, bases loaded, 2 walks and a hit batter. But usually the pitching coach would come out, but Narron comes out right now. He's got a message for his young pitcher. And I would guess part of the message would be throw strikes.
Mayette has thrown 12 pitches and only 1 strike so far out of the gate. And there and back to the dugout. Well, Cliff Floyd had last night off. He's back in there tonight in the cleanup spot for the Red Sox. Manny Ramirez has tonight off. He has struggled as of late at the plate, and Grady Little felt that by giving him tonight off would really be 2 days off for Manny. Of course, the scheduled off day tomorrow. So Ramirez out of the lineup. Cliff Floyd back in, and he's in the cleanup spot tonight. There's a strike from Mayette. A mock cheer goes up here at the ballpark in Arlington. Floyd since joining the Red Sox 4 for 8 so far. Strike 2 now to Floyd. Cliff's down 0-2. Floyd came into the game last night as a pinch hitter and walked. Also scored a run. Boston is the 3rd venue of the year for Cliff Floyd. Florida to Montreal, now to Boston. On the ground towards shortstop. Rodriguez touches second alone, on to first. They turn the double play. In the back door from third comes Johnny Damon with the game's first run. And the Red Sox lead it 1-0 with the Rangers with a big double play.
Well, after not being able to throw a strike to the first 3 hitters, nothing but strikes to Cliff Floyd. A perfect double play ball. A-Rod takes it himself. The Red Sox get the 1 run, but the Rangers very happy to get 2 outs.
Well, last night, as I mentioned, the bases were loaded. Nobody out. The Red Sox got nothing. They only get 1 run tonight. That would be pretty good for Rangers pitching as Jason Varitek stands in. Nixon standing at third as Varitek takes his .284 batting average to the plate. Jason was 1 for 3 with a couple of runs batted in here last night. And has had kind of a tough trip. 4 for 21 for Varitek between the Anaheim Angels series and the series here against the Texas Rangers. Away, and it's now 2-0 to Jason.
Had a big hit last night to drive in a couple of runs, and at that time things looked pretty good for the Red Sox, but the bullpen could not hold the lead, and of course the Red Sox ended up losing that game.
Appeared to pick it up after his manager Jerry Narron came to the mound. He was able to induce the double play. Falling behind Varitek 2-1. Nixon stands at third with 2 down. Varitek thought about it and apparently got a piece of it, foul tipping it. It's now 2-2.
They've tried to do that to Jason in this series. When they get ahead of the count, they try to go upstairs with the fastball. Varitek, a very good low ball hitter, both from the right side of the plate and left side of the plate.
Now the 2-2. Here to take something off as Carp fouled off the left side. Varitek had his 16-game hitting streak ended in the first game of the series. And has still hit safely in 17 of his last 19 games. Nixon doing some dancing at third. The 2-2 is popped up in the infield on the right side. Rafael Palmeiro in a few steps on the grass. Takes care of it to retire the side. Red Sox do get a run at the top of the first inning. Texas Rangers coming up. Back in Texas, the Red Sox get a run at the top of the first. We head to the bottom of the first inning. The Rangers have Frank Catalanato leading off. He is the DH. Kevin Mench in right field. A-Rod, the shortstop. Rafael Palmeiro in the cleanup spot. Carl Everett, the DH last night's in left field and has been red hot. 4 for 10, 2 homers, 7 ribbies in the series. Herbert Perry at third base bats 6th. Bill Hasselman does the catching. Irod has the night off. Michael Young at second base, and Ruben Rivera in center bats 9th.
Defense tonight for the Red Sox. It'll be Shea Hillenbrand at third base. Nomar at shortstop. Ray Sanchez at second, returning to the lineup after a night off yesterday. Tony Clark at first. Floyd, Damon, and Nixon in the outfield. Veritek behind the plate, and on the mound, Pedro Martinez. 14-2, the 2.36 ERA, second to Derek Lowe. Lowe is at 2.13. Pedro with a big lead in strikeouts. 178 leads Freddie Garcia, who has 129 and a 194 opponent's batting average against. That's second to Derek Lowe. Lowe at 190.
Ready to work against Frank Catalanato, the DH tonight for the Texas Rangers. Chops it down the first baseline outside of first. Catalanato, formerly of the Detroit Tigers, came into last night's ball game as a replacement for Todd Hollandsworth, who had to leave the game with an injury. Grounded foul over by the Texas dugout. Now 0-2. Hollandsworth left last night's game, incidentally, with a strained left quadricep muscle, and is listed as day-to-day. And Catalanato getting the start tonight as the DH.
I don't see that very often. Quads. A lot of times, obviously, it's the hamstring. He hurt that trying to beat out a bunt down that first base line.
Came up lame within about 3 steps of the first base bag. He was able to run through, but certainly ailing. Now Pedro starts off his outing right as he strikes out Catalanato, 1 down.
Well, we mentioned the last time out in our open that Pedro had 9 strikeouts against Anaheim, and Anaheim, the toughest team in the American League to strike out. The Rangers, on the other hand, are near the bottom of the league. I believe they're 12th in the league in punch out, so it could be a big night for Pedro. And look at the large gap he has among the strikeout leaders in the American League.
Here is Kevin Mench, who hit a big 3-run home run here last night. He has now hit safely in his last 9 games and has 14 home runs. 43 runs batted in. He hits at .285. Last night was leading off for the 4th time on the year and had a very successful night here last night. Nasty pitch from Pedro, 0-2.
Good sharp curveball from Pedro here early in the ball game.
Now the 0-2 from Martinez. Knocked down low and away. Kevin Mench spending his first time in the major leagues this season, making his major league debut for the Texas Rangers back on April 9th against the Oakland A's, after beginning the season very briefly with Oklahoma. That just misses, framed by Veritek.
Why is Mench still standing? Is that call being to be too high?
Let's see. I guess.
It's right over the middle of the plate. We do know that.
Yeah. I don't even think it's really in the high strike range. But he didn't get the call. The 2-2, he gets him anyway. There is justice. Back-to-back Ks for Pedro to begin the night.
Well, if that's any indication, Kevin Mench is going to see plenty of curveballs tonight from Pedro Martinez, one after another, and he really had some poor-looking swings on Pedro's curveball.
Two down. Here's Alex Rodriguez. Having another incredible year as Rodriguez takes strike 1. Well, the Texas Rangers are having a very bad year. Alex Rodriguez having a good year. It's just a 200 against Pedro. Alex Rodriguez, the leader in home runs in the American League with 37. Runs batted in with 94. He has 6 more RBIs than Nomar Garciaparra.
Pretty good juice there. 94 on that fastball by Pedro.
Martinez trying to strike out the side to begin the evening. He's ahead of A-Rod, 1-2. A little bit low, and it's now 2-2. Pedro Astros striking out Catalanado and Kevin Mench for the first 2 outs of this inning. Now the 2-2 to A-Rod. On the ground towards Nomar. Garciaparra took the good hop and the easy throw to retire the side. 1-2-3 first inning for Pedro. We've played one from Arlington, Texas. 1-0 Boston.
Back in Arlington, the Red Sox have the 1-0 lead as we go to the top of the third. Will now on sale at newsstands, grocery stores, Fenway Park, and by mail. The 2002 Boston Red Sox yearbook. To get yours by mail, send check or money order for $15 to Red Sox yearbook, P.O. Box 1616, Boston, Massachusetts, 02130. It is a beautiful book, too. We have a chance to see it. Very nice edition.
Well, Pedro Martinez through the first 2 innings has surrendered just 1 hit. He has struck out 3, and big double play there to end the second inning, started by Nomar Garciaparra to Sanchez on to Clark. And so far 3 Ks for Pedro. On to the third inning, Ray Sanchez, Johnny Damon, and Trot Nixon expected to bat against Aaron Mayette. Sanchez sails it foul down the right field line. Ray was out of the lineup last night after being hit in the elbow and was a little bit sore, but said he could play tonight and back in there tonight.
Yeah, that was after the Rangers deemed that they hit A-Rod on purpose. So then Ismael Valdez comes out and hits Sanchez on the elbow.
And again, if you're just joining us, the coaches got together last night after the game, and Grady Little deciding to give Manny Ramirez the night off tonight. Sanchez sends it in the air to left center field. Everett and Rivera. Carl Everett there for the first out. But I guess it was a decision made last night, so Manny knew that he would not be playing in tonight's game, and as it works out now, he has 2 days off.
Yeah, it gives him tonight off. Tomorrow, what's left of it after the Red Sox return home for an off day, and then of course not back in action until Tuesday night against the Oakland Athletics at Fenway Park. That should be a heck of a 3-game series.
Manny 4 for 22 on the road trip at just 182, and certainly very un-Manny-like as of late. Johnny Damon walked his first time and scored the game's only run back in the first inning. Johnny 7 for 14 in the series with 3 homers and 5 runs batted in. He's hit home runs in 3 consecutive games as he fouls it back below us. Is now retired 6 in a row as Damon sends it foul down the right field line. 1-2 to Johnny Damon. Very tough beginning. Back-to-back walks, a hit batsman, and since then he's retired everybody that he's faced. And the right-hander has yet to relinquish a hit to the Red Sox, who scored a run in the first despite not having a hit in the inning. 2-2 now to Johnny Damon. Damon had kind of a tough July. He hit a .248 in the month of July. And August so far has been much better for Johnny Damon, and a terrific year for the Red Sox. Got him. Third strikeout for Aaron Mayette. 2 down.
Backdoor breaking ball to pick up the strikeout against Johnny Damon. Johnny, one of the toughest guys in the American League to strike out. No contact that time. That's only the 43rd time this year that Damon has struck out.
Seven in a row retired by Mayette. Trot Nixon walked his first time. That is the final game of the 7-game road trip between Anaheim and Texas. Red Sox are 3-3 on the trip. Nixon hits this deep in far to right field. Bench back, looking up, and it is gone. Trot Nixon, home run number 18 of the season as he goes yard to right, and the Red Sox lead it 2-0.
18 of Trot's last 27 hits have been for extra bases. 9 doubles, a triple, and now 8 home runs. That is the 3rd home run on this road trip for Nixon. A high fastball. Hooks it, and he knows as soon as he made contact that ball's gone. So they continue to fly out of Arlington, the ballpark at Arlington. That was a second deck job.
Nomar sends it deep and far to left towards the corner. Over is Everett, and that ball is a fair ball and gone. Home run indicated by Eric Cooper. The third base umpire down the line and left. Nixon and Garciaparra have gone back to back, and the Red Sox lead it 3-0.
Nomar wasting no time. A breaking ball. First pitch after the home run leaves it inside, and Garciaparra will hit the foul pole with that long fly ball. Boy, it doesn't matter. Right field, left field. It's just flying here.
It is the 6th time this season that the Red Sox have gone back to back. Nixon and Garciaparra doing it tonight. Ayette had not given up a hit through 2 2/3, but back-to-back hits and home runs.
Solo home run by Nomar gives him 89 RBI, 5 behind A-Rod, who leads with 94.
As of late, Garciaparra has been hitting a lot more home runs. He now has 7 home runs over the last 15 games. This is on the ground and through into left field. Cliff Floyd with his first hit of the night. So runner at first, 2 down, and going to bring up Jason Varitek, who popped out to first his first time.
Another look at that home run by Garciaparra. You know, he's been seeing a lot of breaking balls and a lot of breaking balls away from him. It seems like he's been trying to pull the ball up, but watch location of this. It's going to be right inside here. It's just going to hang in the middle of the plate, inside part of the plate. He'll lose that pitch. Most of the time they've been working him away, and that's where that pitch was supposed to be, but he couldn't get it there. And when good hitters see mistakes, they generally hit them hard.
Varitek fouls it back below us. That's 0-1. Tough to tell if that hit the pole down there on Nomar's home run to left.
Did it hit the foul pole? I thought it did.
Looked like as it was ducking back just above the 332 marker that it did grab the pole. And credit the third base umpire Eric Cooper for getting a good distance down the line to make the call.
No argument from Carl Everett, so without question it was a home run. It's just a matter of whether it hit the pole or did not hit the pole.
Carl didn't say anything. You can pretty much bet that it was a home run. Nomar is 18th of the year, and Nixon and Nomar going back to back in the inning.
It's interesting, Don, when these great shortstops hook up together, you know, of Nomar playing against Jeter, Nomar playing against A-Rod. There's a little game inside the game. They want to outplay each other, you know, in a series. And so far in this series, Garciaparra has done a heck of a job.
Well, the 2-1 to Varitek is on the corner for a strike. 2-2. Looks like our good friend Jackson Chase has arrived again. Did himself last night with the ribs, and tonight he's come up big for Jerry with the prime rib, it looks like.
Prime rib sandwiches. How about that?
Wow. The ribs last night were by far the best ribs I've ever had. Runner at first is off. Floyd takes off, and Varitek Fouls it off the left side. 2-2.
Yeah, I must admit it was pretty ugly up here between innings watching you last night eat those ribs. A little spicy for me, but you had absolutely no problem with those ribs.
Yeah. There was one point last night where I guess I didn't really realize the camera was on me, and thankfully they didn't show it, but I was double fisted, I'm told, which I wasn't aware of.
For most of the night.
Double fisted with ribs is not a pretty sight. Veritek strikes out. There's the fourth strikeout for Aaron Mayette. It'll end the inning. Back-to-back home runs for the Red Sox on top, 3-0. Top of the fourth inning inside the ballpark in Arlington. A hot night in Texas. The Red Sox on top, 3-0. Home runs tonight for Trot Nixon and Nomar Garciaparra. The Red Sox featuring 6, 7, and 8 in the order as we move to the fourth inning. And Shea Hillenbrand lined out to left field his first time. Over the last 8 games, Shea at .433. 2 homers and 6 runs batted in. Hot shot up off the glove of Alex Rodriguez into shallow left center. He's got to run it down. As it jumped off his glove, he tried to make a pick there at shortstop, but could not. Hillenbrand's aboard.
4-game hitting streak now for Shea Hillenbrand. 3 for 5 in the game last night. Little short hop right there, but the ball explodes. Hit very hard, and that goes as a base hit for Shea. Once A-Rod realized the outfielders were not going to get there, he had to chase that ball down to keep Hillenbrand at first base.
Well, the Red Sox with the lead man on for the first time since the first inning. Brian Daubach struck out looking his first time up. 4 strikeouts for Aaron Mayette. Daubach skies it to center field. This will send Ruben Rivera back. He's got room and makes the catch. Time now for the Aflac trivia question. Our question tonight: who is the only Texas-born pitcher to win 20-plus games in a season for the Red Sox? And we'll have the answer for you in the next half inning.
Would he be named after a city?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Unless it's a city that I don't know about. I guess it's possible. I think most people will guess something else that seems to be an easy answer because he's always been linked with Texas, but he was not actually born in Texas. We'll explain more later. Think about 20-plus winners with the Red Sox. This is fouled back off the fist below us. He struck out in the second inning. And gets the start at first base tonight for the Red Sox. Boston on top, 3-0 as they bat here in the top of the fourth inning. Getting the start, the former first-round draft choice of the Chicago White Sox in 1997. Came from Chicago to Texas, part of the Royce Clayton deal. This is to Clark, and it's now 2-1. His brother Andy, a right-handed pitcher, has actually been picked twice by Texas in the draft, but has not signed either time. His dad, Ken, pitched for the Cincinnati Reds back in 1969. His pitching coach, Oral Hershiser, who was very concerned early. And Mayette walked the first 2 and then hit a batter. Red Sox had the bases loaded, nobody out. They were able to get just 1 run out of it. In the corner, 2-2 now to Clark. Mayette making his 6th appearance of the year, 5th start. A miserable ERA heading into tonight's action at 10.42. And he is still looking for his first victory of the year as he comes in at 0-3. Clark sends it through the left side into left field. First hit of the night for Tony Clark. Up to second goes Hillenbrand. And the Red Sox now have 5 hits.
A couple of left-handed hitters going to the opposite field. Cliff Lloyd with a base hit to left field, and now Tony Clark in that same direction to pick up his first hit of the night. Struck him out on a curveball first time up. Nasty fastball away, but a good job by Clark to cover the plate, make contact, and pick up the base hit.
So 2 on, 1 away for Ray Sanchez, who flied out to left field his first time. Ray out after the first one, sends it to center field for a base hit. Hillenbrand will be sent around. Rivera's up and throwing, and the throw to the plate is not yet out. Now he's out. Hillenbrand missed the plate the first time by. And the out signal coming from the home plate umpire Ron Barnes. Ruben Rivera throws out Hillenbrand.
Very nice play in center field by Rivera. Charged the line drive hard and made an accurate throw all the way in the air to Haslam, and Haslam had the ball in plenty of time to block the plate. Hillenbrand never did touch the plate. Look at that throw all the way in the air, slides around. Now he comes around and tags Shea as he couldn't get the hand on home plate. Reached for the back part of it, but couldn't quite make contact with it.
Top of the Red Sox order, Johnny Damon, who slices this one down the left field line, back and out of play. Damon walked in the first and scored and struck out in the third inning.
One more look here as Shea Hillenbrand comes around. Does he make contact? Awfully close, but no call by the umpire and no argument from Hillenbrand.
In the air towards right center field, and this ball will get down up off the base of the wall. Tony Clark jogs in from second. Sanchez going to try to score all the way from first, and does. It is a 2-run wall ball double for Johnny Damon, and the Red Sox lead it 5-0.
Red Sox are doing some big-time damage with 2 out in this game. The back-to-back home runs in the third with 2 outs. Now Johnny Damon, line shot off that wall at the 377. It was bobbled out here by the center fielder Ruben Rivera right there, and because of that, that's going to allow Sanchez to come around and score easily from first base. Johnny Damon hot.
Here's Nixon, who's been on base twice, a walk and a home run. Now with 18 home runs on the year, with a solo home run an inning ago, and then Nomar Garciaparra followed it up with a home run of his own, the 6th time this season. The Red Sox have gone back-to-back. A 5-0 advantage for Pedro Martinez tonight as the Red Sox continue to bat at the top of the 4th inning. Puts a charge into this one into right center field. Back up and out of the reach of Ruben Rivera. Easily scoring from second is Johnny Damon with the 6th Boston run. Nixon has driven in another, and the Red Sox lead at 6-0.
Looked like Rivera in center field misplayed that a little bit. Got caught backpedaling, and the ball was hit so hard he had no chance to catch up to it. Right there, he spins around, starts to backpedal. He was turned in the wrong direction and can't make the play. Johnny Damon comes across. Trot Nixon picks up his 2nd RBI of the ball game, and now on the season 64 for Nixon. It's amazing, you know, they get a great defensive play really by Rivera, throwing a man out at home plate, and then the pitcher can't end the inning. A double to drive in 2 runs, another double to drive in a run. All this coming with 2 outs.
And Hershiser to the mound to talk to Mayette. He has thrown 70 pitches as he works here in the 4th inning. The Rangers do have action in their bullpen as they have right-handers up.
Now, I mentioned he struggled. That's Rob Bell. He has been taken out of the starting rotation and put in the bullpen. Mayette in his last 2 starts, 3 innings against Seattle, 3 2/3 against the Yankees, and having a difficult time here in the 4th inning against the Red Sox.
Texas Rangers as a club second to last in the American League in earned run average at 5.22. They score a lot of runs, but they give up a lot of runs. Nomar Garciaparra has been hit by a pitch and he's homered. May have done it again. High drive deep left back and gone. Nomar's second home run of the night, and the Red Sox lead at 8-0. Home run number 19 of the year for Garciaparra.
Well, remember the last time up the location of the breaking ball? Almost the exact same thing here. Another hanger for Mayette and Garciaparra all over it. Right down Broadway. And a line shot home run. And that's going to be it for Mayette.
So 3 2/3 innings for Mayette, and a similar conclusion to this one that he has had to undergo all season long, and he will not pick up his first win here of the season tonight as he leaves now with the Red Sox on top 8-0, still batting in the top of the 4th.
An offensive explosion here by the Red Sox. They have the 8-0 lead here in the 4th inning. Well, Red Sox fans on Tuesday, August 6th, all fans age 15 and under coming to see the Red Sox take on the A's at 7:05. Receive a Red Sox cap courtesy of Conn's Fenway Franks.
Well, 7 men have come to the plate so far. 5 have scored here in the top of the 4th. Aaron Mayette is gone after 3 2/3, and the new pitcher on is Rob Bell.
First career relief appearance in the big leagues for Bell after 66 consecutive starts. He had 13 starts this year for the Rangers and a 4-3 record with an ERA up over 6. He has worked out of the bullpen at the minor league level, but not at the major league level.
Tonight marks the 15th career multi-home run game for Nomar Garciaparra. He strung together 2 so far tonight. And Nomar's home run total right now stands at 19. Floyd goes the opposite way to left field, and that's going to get in and roll towards the corner. Well, Everett digs it out, but Cliff Floyd heads to second base with his second hit of the night. Cliff's 2 for 3.
Well, Cliff can't get in the RBI because Nomar's cleaning him up in front of him tonight. Had the chance with the bases loaded, hit into a double play, but in the next 2 at-bats, pretty impressive, Don, going to the opposite field both times on pitches away.
Red Sox have 3 players now in the lineup with 2 hits. Nixon has 2, Garciaparra 2, and now Cliff Floyd 2. Jason Varitek 0 for 2 tonight has popped out and struck out. Varitek, the 9th member of the Red Sox to bat here in the top of the 4th inning. Aaron Mayette chased from the game after 3 2/3 innings. He gave up 9 hits, 8 runs. He walked 2 and struck out 4. Gave up home runs to Nixon and 2 to Nomar Garciaparra. He's very much on the hook right now for the Texas Rangers. Well, the 2-0 delivery is fouled off by Varitek. 2-1. Rob Bell's 25 years of age, very big, 6'5", 225 pounds. Right-hand reliever for the Rangers. Pitched in the big leagues previously with the Cincinnati Reds for a couple of seasons prior to coming to Texas last year. Varitek slices it fouled off the left side. 2-2.
Oh, nice play. A lot of action here right below us. They got this little mezzanine deck that they really get a lot of foul balls here.
I think this is the closest we are to actual fans sitting in front of us.
Oh, you can, yeah, they come up sometimes in front of the booth and you can have a nice conversation with them.
They can have some of our shrimp if they'd like. The 2-2 swung on and missed. Veritek strikes out for the second time tonight. Damage has been done. 9 Red Sox come to the plate. 5 of them score. We played 3.5 from Texas. 8-0 Boston.
10 strikeouts for Pedro, 8-0. I'll tell you what, man, this food that's been coming to the booth has been inhaled by my partner over the last couple of nights. It's been amazing.
We thank Jackson Chase.
You know, it's been rather ugly watching you eat all this. I mean,
I don't think it's been that bad. I've only had a little of it. I've shared it.
A little. There's 3 sandwiches left. He started out with about at least 8.
Hillenbrand leads it off and lines it foul down the left field line, backing out.
Plus, last night was really ugly with the ribs.
Oh no. Oh my.
Double fisted.
All between innings. Wow. Look out. Shea ducks back out of the way. You really need the music to go along with that. Did you hear the music? That was wow. Those are the ribs last night. They were very good. Brand fouls it off, and it's now 2-2.
Little knockdown pitch by Bell on that previous pitch. See how Pedro responds to that knockdown pitch to Hillenbrand, if at all.
Already seen a little bit of this in this series, and it seemed to follow the Red Sox around a little bit this year as Elvis is up top, and it's a full count. This is stroked well to left. Hillenbrand has answered the brushback pitch with a home run. His 16th home run of the year, and the Red Sox lead at 9-0. Well, now Hillenbrand probably saying, "Take that, Rob Bell."
Well, that's clearly the best response. Get yourself back up, dust yourself off, get back in, and a changeup, a hanging changeup from Bell, and Hillenbrand with the line drive home run to left field. Shea now with 16 on a season. I'll tell you, the Red Sox lately have been really piling up the home runs.
Four of them tonight, and it is the 8th time this season that there have been 4 home runs or more for the Red Sox. Here's Daubach, and he takes a strike. The Red Sox have now hit 34 home runs in the last 15 games. That's off to Daubach, who's now down 0-2. Fouls it off. Still 0-2. They had to hurt a little bit as he takes some extra time. Rob Bell has been on since the 4th inning, and the home run by Shea Hillenbrand is the first run that he has given up. The 8 previous runs belong to the Rangers starter, Aaron Mayette. He's chased after just 3 2/3 innings tonight, and he's on the hook. Into the game at 0-3. A 1-2. Daubach takes it, and it evens up now at 2-2 to Daubach. And with a career high 22 home runs last year after 21 home runs each of the previous 2 seasons. Very consistent. He's at 16 right now. Strike 3 to Daubach. 3rd strikeout for Rob Bell. First out of the 7th inning.
Dahlbach doesn't like the call. Second time he struck out tonight on almost the same pitch, a ball away. But usually in games like this, 9-0, that strike zone will expand a little bit, and Dahlbach heading right down the runway. And usually when that happens, he's not very happy.
Tony Clark out after the first one. I noticed that some of the places there are punching bags in the runways. I guess that gives a chance for a guy to go back there and kind of get his aggressions out. Without injuring another member of his team.
How many times have we seen guys go on a disabled list for punching a wall, breaking a finger or breaking a hand?
Sometimes teammates do get hit inadvertently too from outbursts in the dugout. I remember.
Did you see that episode at Tampa Bay?
Yes, where Hal McRae actually shoved.
Yeah, Tanyan Sturtz. Sturtz, I guess, threw some equipment around, and one piece of that hit McRae, and McRae came back and pushed him.
Archimedes Pozo, as a member of the Pawtucket Red Sox, knocked out Lou Merlone in the Paw Sox dugout. As he struck out, he went into the dugout and then tried to hit the bat rack with his bat. Instead, he made contact. Bat to head of Lou Merlone and knocked him out. 98, I believe, was the year that it happened. So the punching bags in the runways are a very good idea. Fouled off the left side. 2-2 to Tony Clark.
It's a name from the past, Archimedes Pozo.
Kimi Pozo. Strike 3 to Clark. Back-to-back Ks for Rob Bell. 2 down.
Well, Bell hasn't exactly been dazzling in this game, but he's certainly been better than the starter tonight. Slider here to Tony Clark to pick up the strikeout.
Two down for Ray Sanchez. Singleton scored in the fourth. 1 for 3 tonight. Bell has done a pretty good job here out of the bullpen. He's sucked up some innings for the Texas Rangers in relief, working the middle innings, and no one warming up in behind him right now. Sanchez lifts it in the air to shallow right. Michael Young, the second baseman, behind first to make the catch. Leadoff home run for the Red Sox. Shea Hillenbrand touches his 16th of the season. 7th inning stretch time from Texas. It is 9-0 Red Sox. Oh. Back in Texas, the Red Sox on top 9-0. The benefit of 4 home runs tonight. Now for the Hess playoff chase update. As we take a look at the AL East and AL wildcard situation. The Yankees with a 4.5 game lead over the Red Sox. They won today against Anaheim. The Angels with a half-game lead over the Red Sox in the wild card, and certainly Oakland not in behind too far. The Red Sox and the Angels. The A's 2 games back of the Angels. There you see the results from this afternoon. The Hess playoff chase update is brought to you by Hess Express, the store with more. No doubt about it, it's going to be a very tight race. Red Sox with still a very good opportunity to catch the Yankees, and some games coming up here against the Oakland A's for the Red Sox as well here over the next 3 days after the off day tomorrow. Kevin Mench 0 for 2. He's done the same thing twice tonight. That strikeout against Pedro. Pedro with 10 strikeouts in the game. Mench fouls it off 1-1. In my defense, as far as the eating went on there, you have to realize there's only 90 seconds in between innings. And you get a chance to eat before the game, and so you don't have a lot of time.
Well, if you pace yourself, you can have 1 rib every half inning. You were double-fisted every half inning.
And how about you circling the second one as it came up? That was 2-1 is in the air to right center field. Back goes Nixon. Shy of the warning tracks. Got it sized up. And Mensch out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
First time that Mensch has made contact tonight. Pedro had struck him out on a curveball changeup. That time he gives him a fastball, but he flies out to right field.
One down, and it brings up Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod is grounded to short and has struck out swinging. He's 0 for 2 tonight against Pedro. And in 22 at-bats against Martinez, Alex Rodriguez with 10 strikeouts. Superstar versus superstar. Pedro's had the better of it as Rodriguez fouls it off. His 88th pitch of the night, and Rodriguez sends it to right. Nixon again, same general location. He's able to make the catch. 2 down. Both Mensch and Rodriguez using Nixon 2 away. "13 in a row retired by Pedro Martinez. Here's Rafael Palmeiro's 0 for 2. He struck out looking, flying to center. And runs, 14 hits. No errors for the Red Sox. No runs, just 2 hits for the Rangers. And no errors so far tonight. Ground under the glove of Pedro, finds its way into center field. Palmeiro breaks up the string of 13 Rangers in a row retired as he gets just the 3rd hit of the night for Texas.
Right back up the middle against Pedro on a changeup. Pedro, the only guy that had a chance at it, but more of a wave than an attempt here by Pedro to make that play. It's almost like the ball was allergic to his glove.
Two down, and it brings up Carl Everett, who's 1 for 2 tonight. Carl getting the start in left field. He singled in the 2nd inning for the first Texas Rangers hit.
Well, there's action in the bullpen for the Red Sox now, so that may mean that this would be the last inning for Pedro with the 9-0 lead.
Embry, Red Sox left-hander, up in the bullpen. Everett 1 for 2 as he fouls it off. When you look at Carl's time as a member of the Red Sox, and really the first half of the first year was the most productive for Carl Everett. Regard, the numbers are a little deceiving in that the first half is where he did the bulk of his work, but 2000 he hit 300 with 34 homers and 108 runs batted in. Nearly that last year. In his 2nd year with the Red Sox, he hit just 257, the year in which he was injured a lot, but still gotten 102 games. Carl hit just 14 home runs and 58 runs batted in. A roller coaster ride of a stay in Boston. Came to an end here in his first year with the Texas Rangers. But really, from the first half of the first year on, was not the same Carl Everett, and that can be said right up until this stretch here over the last couple of weeks.
Well, the American League made some adjustments on Everett. They started to pitch him up in the zone with fastballs and throw him a lot of breaking balls that he would chase.
Full count to Carl. Palmeiro off at first with the pitch, and it's ball 4. Wow, there's the first walk of the night as Pedro Martinez misses and visibly frustrated with himself. 2 on, 2 down.
Trying to get Carl with back-to-back breaking balls and looked like both of them just slipped out of his hand. Did not have the good bite on it.
Embry warming in the pen, 2 down. Palmeiro at second, Everett at first. Here's Herbert Perry. So for 2, he's grounded into a double play and has struck out. Pedro with 10 Ks tonight as he works in the 7th inning. Look out in the Texas dugout. Grounded foul into the dugout.
Only 2 games going right now is this Red Sox game, 9-0 lead, and St. Louis has a 1-0 lead over Atlanta. That ball game is in the 8th inning.
This is away, and it's now 1-1 to Herbert Perry. The next pitch for Pedro Martinez. He'll reach the century mark as he stands at 99 right now. To Perry. In the air to shallow center field. Damon was pretty deep, but he gets in and under in plenty of time to make the catch to retire the side. Another good inning from Pedro, and likely his last. We played 7 from Texas. 9-0 Boston. Rob Bell has departed. The Rangers have made some defensive changes as well. Let's take a look at the new shortstop. Donnie Sadler, former Red Sox infielder, outfielder. Sadler takes over at shortstop. A-Rod comes out of the game, and the new pitcher on the 3rd of the night, newly acquired Dennis Reyes.
Came over to Texas on July 31st with Todd Hollandsworth for Gabe Kapler and Jason Romano. His 2nd appearance against the Red Sox. A 3rd of an inning, couple of hits, a couple of earned runs in that debut in a Texas uniform. Been around. He's pitched for the Dodgers, Reds, Colorado, and now the Rangers.
Johnny Damon has been on base twice, a walk and a double, as he fouls this one off. Damon struck out in the 3rd, grounded out in the 5th. He is 1 for 3 with a walk and 2 runs scored. He's driven in 2 runs tonight, and it's been a very good series for Johnny Damon. Had home runs in the first 3 games of the series, but has not yet homered tonight. On the ground at Palmeiro. He will elect to take it alone, and Damon is out, number 1. Looks like Pedro is done for the night, as we had anticipated, and a terrific outing for Martinez tonight. 10 strikeouts, 7 innings of 3-hit ball for Pedro Martinez, and 7 shutout innings. And the 10 Ks tonight for Pedro, the 86th time in his career that he's had 10 or more Ks.
Now, the last time he lost a game was on June 14th against Atlanta. Since then, wins against San Diego, Cleveland, Toronto, Detroit. No decision against Toronto. The Yankees, Tampa Bay, Anaheim, and hopefully tonight the Texas Rangers.
Nixon with a walk, a homer, a double, and a strikeout tonight. Red Sox with 4 home runs in the game tonight. In there for a strike, 2-1. Does not agree. 2-2 now the count. Dennis Reyes made his debut here with the Rangers on Friday after being part of the Hollandsworth deal that sent Kapler and Romano to the Rockies, and now finds his way to his 4th major league team. The Dodgers 97-98, the Reds 98 through 2001, and was in his first season as a member of the Colorado Rockies. Nixon strikes out. Reyes comes back to get him. 2 down. Time out for your Citizens Bank, not your typical fan. Bobby Knight in attendance here tonight in Texas. He's been known to get a little fired up from time to time.
Ooh, Bobby?
Yeah.
He look more relaxed right now. Just finished that nice ice cream, picking up all his trash. Got that Madras shirt on with the shorts. He's coaching where? Texas Tech?
Texas Tech. As Nomar fouls it back to the backstop.
Bobby used to come to Red Sox spring trainings on occasion. He would fish with Yastrzemski every now and then. And he was the type of guy that when he was around camp, you knew he was there.
I understand he and Bill Parcells are very good friends, both outstanding coaches. Nomar sends this to left, and it'll fall for a base hit. It is the 4th hit of the night for Nomar Garciaparra, the 5th time he's been on base. And hit by a pitch has 2 home runs, a double, and now a single to add to his night. A terrific night for Nomar.
Everything to left field tonight. That time they tried to sneak the fastball by him down and in, and no chance. Not tonight. This is the kind of game you feel like if Nomar played 20 innings, he'd probably go something like 9 for 9, 10 for 10. He's right on target tonight.
2 down, Nomar at first. Cliff Floyd's 2 for 4 tonight, a single and a double. I know different players react to different managers or coaches. I don't think it'd be very difficult to play for Bobby Knight, but sometimes a guy like that can get the best out of you. I'm sure you played for some tough managers. I know you did.
He reminds me a little bit of playing for Dick Williams, my first major league manager. After that, you couldn't have played for anybody tougher than that. And I'm sure that's the same thing for Knight. Once you play for Knight, who else could you play for that's tougher?
On the ground and out of the reach of Rafael Palmeiro. Floyd will have his 3rd hit of the night. Nomar is headed to 3rd. Floyd's heading for 2, and he's in safely. Floyd with his 2nd double of the night, 3rd hit. He has contributed mightily for the Red Sox here for a very short time, but he has done a terrific job.
Now, pretty good production from the top of the lineup tonight. Damon with a double to drive into. Nixon with a home run and a double to drive into. Garciaparra 4 for 4, 3 RBI, and now the 3rd hit of the night for Floyd. A single and 2 doubles, and that double coming off the lefty.
Jason Varitek's 0 for 4 tonight. He has flied out twice, struck out twice.
You mentioned last night, Floyd, a .311 career hitter against left-handers coming into this season. It was only a .233 this season, but he can handle the lefties.
I would imagine that Ricky Henderson's time will be diminished as we move forward. As Cliff Floyd certainly being there against lefties last night, just getting the night off, even though it was a lefty. And Kenny Rogers all back to the backstop. It would seem to me it'd be tougher to play for a guy that you know is going to get on you if you make a mistake.
Well, it depends on your personality. I mean, some people can take it, you know, and you learn an awful lot about the game from people like that sometimes. And Knight, obviously a very knowledgeable basketball guy. Dick Williams was the same way in baseball. I learned an incredible amount of baseball from him. And I also learned that if you didn't do things right and you made mental mistakes, you weren't going to play. So I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. Some people crumble under that pressure, others strive on it.
Two to Jason Varitek, 2 in scoring position. And Varitek sends it well to left. Everett's on the run. He's not going to get there. This will one-hop the wall. Garciaparra from 3rd. Floyd will score. And the Red Sox tack on 2 more and lead it 11-0. Jason Varitek with his 1st hit of the night. Credit for RBIs 43 and 44. And the Red Sox continue to hit.
You know, you could really see the evidence out here with Everett of the problems he's had, the leg problems this year. He's not moving very well after that ball. Matter of fact, once it get by him, almost a little bit of a limp for Carl.
So after Reyes got the first 2 outs of the inning, Damon and Nixon to ground out strikeout. He's given up a single, a double, and a double, scoring 2 runs. Shea Hillenbrand has 3 hits tonight, 3 for 4, 2 singles and a home run for Shea. Hillenbrand now 16 home runs on the season. Red Sox heading home after the game tonight. They'll have tomorrow off, and then a 3-game series with the Oakland A's begins on Tuesday night. We'll have it for you here on NESN. Tim Wakefield against Mark Mulder to get the series started against the A's. Red Sox are home for just the week. The A's and Twins, and then it is out to Seattle a week from tonight. The Red Sox will be traveling after the game, and that'll be a very tough series for Grady Little. Back to the West Coast again. The 1-2 to Hillenbrand. Off the fist on the ground down the third base line, a foul ball. Caught and thrown by Herbert Perry, but a foul indication that it's still 1-2 to Shea Hillenbrand. Well, the Red Sox doing their fair share of traveling this year, no doubt about that. 5 trips to the West Coast as a result of interleague play that has seen the Red Sox take on the NL West this year. This is their only trip to Texas in 2002. Hillenbrand pops it up right side. Rafael Palmeiro puts it away. The Red Sox come up with 2 more in the top of the 8th. On to the bottom of the 8th. 11-0 Boston. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back at the ballpark in Arlington, Texas. The Red Sox have had their way with the Texas Rangers tonight and have received outstanding pitching from Pedro Martinez. Pedro leaves after 7, ends up with 10 Ks. Rafael Palmeiro early. A-Rod and Bill Hasselman all down by way of the K as part of a 10 strikeout performance for Pedro Martinez over 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, and a walk. Aaron Mayette chased after just 3 2/3, charged with 8 runs. Nomar's got 4 hits, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Nixon with a home run. Johnny Damon has also had a very good night as we get ready for the bottom of the 8th inning with the Red Sox on top 11-0, out hitting Texas 17-3, and Alan Embry takes over.
13th appearance for Embry on the season. His second of this series. Worked an inning on the second against the Rangers, allowing 1 hit. You've got Embry here. Urbina throwing in the bullpen. Oogie hasn't worked in a while, not since the Anaheim series, so he may get an inning in this one. Plus the Red Sox with the off day tomorrow.
Hasselman 0 for 2. He's grounded to shortstop and struck out looking. Hasselman sends it in the air to shallow right. In comes Nixon. Out number 1 in the bottom of the 8th. Pedro Martinez, as a result of his effort tonight, came into the game with a 2.36 earned run average. It jumps down to 2.25. A 1.51 road earned run average for Pedro Martinez. And batters against him now just 192. And that's in 7 shutout innings tonight for Martinez. Michael Young has 1 of only 3 hits for the Texas Rangers tonight. 1 for 2. $29,359 on hand here tonight. And 44,000 last night, so much less here tonight for the final game of the series. 2-1 to Michael Young. Ruben Rivera waits on deck as Embry deals with the bottom third of the Texas order here in the bottom of the 8th.
Rangers have seen some pretty good fastballs tonight. Pedro obviously consistently 92, 93, 94, and now you got Embry in there at 94, 95 from the left side.
Three and one now to Michael Young. The Rangers and Red Sox here wrapping up the 4-game series. Red Sox looking to earn a split in this 4-game series. Now 4 to Michael Young. The second walk given up by Red Sox pitching tonight. Here comes Ruben Rivera, who's certainly glad to see Pedro Martinez leave. He was 0 for 2, did the same thing twice tonight, and that strikeout. Different ways, though. He went looking in the 3rd, swinging in the 6th. Fights it off down the first base line, foul. Red Sox have action in the pen. Urbina had been up, and now Frank Castillo is up in the bullpen. He took one for the team here the other night and had a very tough outing, but stayed in the game as the Red Sox did not want to go to the bullpen. And Frank was roughed up for a while. He's up in the bullpen. The 0-1. 0-2 now to Rivera. Keep in mind he struck out twice tonight. Don't hold on Michael Young at first as Clark plays in behind him. The 0-2 pitch. On the ground left side off the glove of Hillenbrand. He dove and it kicked off the top of his glove. Nomar runs it down. A hit for Rivera. And the Rangers have 2 on with 1 away.
Shea diving for the ball, and of course Nomar heading in that direction. Once it ricochets off the glove of Hillenbrand, Nomar has no chance at it. And a mini rally here for the, which seems to be a rally tonight because they haven't had very much action at all. A couple of base runners.
Catalanato's 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a ground out tonight. The leadoff hitter for the Texas Rangers now bats with 1 out, 2 on. And it takes strike 1 from Embry. It was at 96 miles per hour from Embry. Strike 2 to Catalanato. You're the drum guy? I didn't realize I had a drum guy here in Texas. I know they got one in Cleveland.
I think he just showed up.
I've heard
the first I've heard of him in 4 days.
There he is. Drum guy.
8th inning of game 4. Looks like he's had a couple of
careful
cocktails tonight. Drum guy.
It's very down. Drum guy. Wow. What was that? 1-2 now the count.
What's the popular beverage here? Lone Star?
Yes. Well, you're in Texas.
I think Drum Guy's had a couple of Lone Stars. Angry drum man right now.
Well, his team is down 11-0. He's been out hit 17-4.
He's not giving up though.
Upstairs 2-2 now to Frank Catalanato. Two to Catalanato with Young at second, Rivera at first. Texas batting in their half of the 8th inning. He carves it foul back to the backstop. It's been a tough year for Texas. 47 and 63 heading into tonight's action. 21.5 games back of the Mariners. Some guys getting worse by the second.
Oh, a couple of taps, but they were pretty weak.
That was a very weak effort.
It was a 2-2 tap.
Seems like a very angry guy.
Oh, he may get going now on the 3-2.
Now the sound system is taking over. That's probably angry drum guy. Young at second, Rivera at first, one down. And Embry to the belt with the payoff pitch. Got him. First strikeout for Alan Embry. Out number 2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And the third time tonight that Catalanano has struck out. Pedro got him twice. He got him to ground out to second on a changeup. Now Embry throws the fastball by him.
Here's Kevin Mench, who is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and fly to right. This is up top to Kevin Mench. A big 3-run home run last night. Mench with now 14 home runs on the year. Just misses again. Now 2-0. Red Sox with action in the pen. Frank Castillo had been up.
Looks like it's Haney now, a left-hander. Maybe some guys just getting some throwing in with the off day tomorrow.
The 2-0 pitch. Calls it off. Back below us and to the right. Has hit safely in the last 9 games, but that hitting streak is on the line right now as he bats in the bottom of the 8th. Lynch is 0 for 3 tonight. Broken bat, looper into shallow right. Nixon's coming on. He won't get there. Falls for a base hit. Michael Young will score from second, and to third base goes Rivera. The Rangers played their first run of the night, and Kevin Mench has now hit safely in 10 straight.
Well, certainly the Rangers happy to see Pedro out of the ball game, put a run on the board. Broken bat, base hit. Kevin Mench was more concerned about where the head of the bat was going down third base than where the baseball was going. Dropped in front of Nixon. Young across, who had walked. And an 11-1 ball game.
Instead of A-Rod coming up, who would be scheduled to bat here. Of course, Sadler took over for him defensively in the field last inning, and now will bat for the first time tonight. Sadler hitting with runners at the corners and 2 outs in the inning. Sadler takes strike 1. Only appearing in his 3rd game with the Texas Rangers. 186, 5 runs batted in. Sadler's also appeared with the Kansas City Royals. Quickly in the hole, 0-2. Wow, that one 97 miles per hour. Number appears to be angry. Gives up a run here in the bottom of the 8th. First run of the night for the Texas Rangers. Got him. Sadler didn't have much of a chance there. Second strikeout for Embry. The Rangers do indeed get a run. On to the 9th, 11-1 Boston. Ready for the top of the 9th back in Texas. Red Sox on top 11-1. New first baseman Mike Lamb takes over for Rafael Palmeiro. And the bottom third of the Boston order to face Dennis Reyes here in the top of the 9th inning. Ryan Daubach is the only member of the starting 9 tonight not to have a hit. Daubach 0 for 4 so far tonight. Nomar Garciaparra leading the Red Sox in the hit category with 4 tonight, leading 2 home runs for Nomar. The Red Sox and the Texas Rangers, the only game left in the major leagues, is going on right now. The Braves have beaten St. Louis tonight 2-1 in the only other major league game. As Nomar has enjoyed tonight with his 18th and 19th home runs of the year. A double and a single to go along with those 2 home runs. He's been on base 5 times tonight. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. And it is his 16th career 4-hit game tonight. He's had 2 of them this year. 2-2 now to Daubach. Daubach, Clark, and then Sanchez to bat here in the 9th inning. Backhand through into center field. Well, Daubach had been the only member of the Red Sox not to have a hit tonight. He joins the hit parade. The Red Sox now have 18 in the game.
Hanging breaking ball here from Reyes, and Daubach slaps it up the middle for the base hit. Actually, it was a high breaking ball that was on the outside part of the plate. So what is that? Everybody got a hit now, Don?
That's correct.
Everybody's smiling.
Clark sends this one towards second. He hurt himself, maybe a hamstring, as he can't even get out of the box. Now he makes his way down to first. An easy double play, but Tony was clutching the back of his leg almost immediately.
That looks like a hammy. And a bad one. Don't run off. Just walk it off. Take another look at Tony leaving that first, the batter's box. It'll tap towards second base. And it looks like right on the swing.
Yeah.
That does not look good.
I can see it running, but here on the swing. Here's Lou Merlone pinch hitting for Sanchez.
What's going on down below us, Dan?
Saw the Red Sox dugout come to the top step, and they're just looking back behind the dugout. A little fracas back there. I first saw the Red Sox coming to the top step. I don't know what was going on. They're looking back into the seats as Merlone fouls it off. Lou's down 0-2.
Little fisticuffs in the hot weather down here in Texas.
Ray Sanchez had been 1 for 4 tonight. I guess the bout has wrapped up.
Look like Butterbean down there.
Well, he sends it to left. Everett headed back, got twisted around, ends up over his head. The track and the wall, and Merlone is headed for 2, and Lou in standing with a 2-out double. Carl does not look very mobile out there in left field at all.
No, not at all. Early in the game, the ball that got by him, and now this, he did not get a good jump at all. Line drive by Maloney, hit hard, picked that one right off the ground, but Everett turning the wrong way.
Johnny Damon batting tonight for the 6th time in the game. Damon has walked and doubled to get on base, also struck out, grounded out twice. His double in the 4th drove in a pair. Damon now with 53 RBIs on the year. Low and away, 1-1 to Johnny Damon. tips it into the glove. 1-2. This is game number 110 for the Red Sox. Only 52 left to play in the season. And hopefully we'll be playing them all, as the looming strike situation hopefully will not happen, as the shortstop Sadler throws out Damon, and that'll do it. Red Sox unable to add to their total. It's on to the bottom of the ninth. 11-1 Boston.
Back at Arlington, 11-1. The Red Sox have the lead as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. We remind you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Boston Red Sox may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Boston Red Sox.
Some defensive changes for the Red Sox. Lou Merlone, who hit for Ray Sanchez, takes over at second. The Red Sox will forego their DH, as their DH is now in the game at first base, and Brian Daubach, who takes over for Tony Clark, who appeared to come up with a hamstring injury and left the game. Chris Haney, the new Boston pitcher.
20th appearance for Haney, his second of this series. He worked on the first, 2 innings in that game, a couple of hits, a walk, and a strikeout for Chris.
Mike Lamb, the hitter for the first time tonight. He took over defensively for Palmeiro in the top of the ninth. Rafael had been 1 for 3 and had one of 3 hits off Pedro tonight. Lamb's at .298, 6 homers and 22 runs batted in. Sidearm breaking ball from Chris Haney. Sent Lamb swinging. 1-2 now to Lamb.
I got a Red Sox fan right down in front of us here that's roaming back and forth trying to get a foul ball. If he gets one, he wants me to sign it for him.
There's a base hit down the line and left. Floyd will head to the corner to dig it out. Lamb digging his way to second base, and he'll get there standing with a leadoff double to begin things in the bottom of the ninth.
Palmeiro getting a few innings off. Lamb jumps in and picks up a double off the lefty. Big space over there between Hill and Brand in the line. And all the way down to the 332 for the leadoff double here in the ninth.
See, if you traveled with your own equipment, then you would have a ball to give to him.
He's setting himself up, too, where he thinks the foul ball is going to go. With a right-hander now, he's moving down toward our right because he thinks the ball is going to slice off in that direction.
Isn't there like something else you could sign for him? Maybe?
See?
Yeah.
See, he's moved now. I'll sign my card for him if he doesn't get a foul ball, but this is kind of fun to watch.
Everett sending it foul down the right field line. I don't think he's going to get that one.
But he knows how to play. I mean, the right-hander comes up, so he slides over that way.
Seems like a lot of work for your autograph.
He's trying to pick up the sign so he can position himself to get the foul ball.
0-1 to Everett. He'll pop it up foul. No chance there. 0-2. Now, granted, your autograph is worth a lot. It does seem like a great deal of work to.
Well, I don't really think he cares about the autograph. I think he wants the ball. But I do feel badly for him. He's been out there for 5 innings.
Well, now he's all tied up on the phone. No 2 to Everett. And the breaking ball grounded foul outside to third. Carl singled in the second, popped out to short in the 5th, walked in the 7th inning. Red Sox out hitting Texas 19-6 as the Rangers bat here in the bottom of the 9th. Just joining us, Pedro Martinez, 7 shutout innings. Everett almost twisted into that pitch. Pedro over the 7 innings, striking out 10 tonight, dropping his ERA to 2.25. And hoping to pick up his 15th victory of the year. Down low, 2-2. Pedro with the victory would equal the output of Derek Lowe's 15-5. 2-2 to Everett as Lamb gets his lead off second base. Herbert sends it in the air to center. Johnny Damon back a few steps. Makes the catch. Lamb's going to tag and head for third. Damon's throw is pretty good, but it's up the line. A lot on it, but it pulls Hillenbrand off the bag, and Lamb does tag up. One down in the inning. We'll bring up Herbert Perry, the third baseman for the Rangers, as Veritek goes out to talk to Chris Haney.
Does that guy position himself in the same spot?
He probably should with the right-hander coming up.
Well,
He's on
moving
the
now.
move. Yeah.
Must have a different scouting report on Perry.
He's talking to his advanced scout right now. Herbert Perry, they remember him with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He's been with the Cleveland Indians, the Chicago White Sox, and now the Texas Rangers. On his fourth team, all in the American League for Herbert Perry. Originally a second-round pick of the Indians back in 1991. Has bounced into a double play tonight. Struck out, fly down, 0 for 3. As he goes the opposite way, and he'll drive in a run. From third comes Lamb, and the Rangers plate their second run. Now 11-2 Boston. And the Rangers are not going quietly. Got a single run last inning. They've driven in a run here in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Bill Hasselman, 0 for 3 so far tonight. Ground out, strikeout, fly out. As he's starting on that pitch. Ivan Rodriguez getting the night off tonight, and Bill Hasselman in there tonight for the final game of the 4-game series. On the ground, chopped left side. Hillenbrand cuts it off to second. That's all they'll get. Although he covered the bag and Perry was coming in hard, they do get the lead man in Herbert Perry. 5-4 on the force out, 2 down.
Well, Don, with the injury to Tony Clark, and it certainly does look like one that's going to keep him out for a while. Looks like he pulled that thing pretty bad. You got to wonder now what move the Red Sox would make. They were going to have Clark basically hit against left-handed pitching with play Daubach at first base and Clark. So obviously Daubach's going to get almost all the time over there. Interested to see if they move Baega over there, switch hitter, maybe to get some playing time.
Has been talked about. Of course, Jose Offerman recently taken off the roster. Baega has taken some ground balls over there, and interesting to see if we see him at all at first. That certainly did not look good for Tony.
Nope, that looks like a long one, unfortunately.
And ironic, you often see it with guys legging things out down the first base line, but he did it swinging, it appeared.
The only thing you hope is maybe in this heat it's a cramp, but it looked more serious than that.
So we'll learn more after the game. Going 2 up and away to Michael Young. Chris Haney, the third pitcher used tonight by the Red Sox. Pedro started, went 7, shutout. Alan Embry went an inning giving up a run, and now Haney on for the 9th. And he has been touched for a run on 2 hits so far. The 2-2 up and away, and it's a full count. First will be off Bill Hasselman. The Rangers down to their last strike. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Here goes Hasselman, and this is banged through the right side. Hasselman will touch second and move to third on the single to right by Michael Young. Rangers not going quietly. They've got runners at the corners with 2 down. The number 9 hitter, Ruben Rivera, who struck out twice against Pedro. Certainly glad to see him gone. Reached on an infield hit his last time up off Alan Embry in the 8th. He has given up 3 hits here in the 9th and an additional run here to the Texas Rangers. That's in there for a strike. 1-1. On the ground and outside at third and foul. So the Rangers are down to their last strike again. The Red Sox can wrap it up here. It would make them 65 and 45, and they certainly should with a 9-run advantage in the bottom of the 9th. And they keep pace with the Yankees, who beat the Angels today. Red Sox 4 games back. 9 down the left field line, back into the seats. Sandy trying to finish off the Texas Rangers here and gain a split in the 4-game series. The 1-2. Wow, just missed. 2-2. The 2-2. Rivera takes it. It's a full count. On deck for the Texas Rangers, the top of their order, Frank Catalanotto would be next. The payoff pitch. Ball 4. Ruben Rivera, the number 9 hitter, is walked, and the Rangers have the bases loaded. It's the first walk given up by Chris Haney, and only the 3rd all night by Red Sox pitching. Frank Catalanotto 0 for 4 tonight. 3 strikeouts and a ground out for Catalanotto tonight. Bats with Hasselman at 3rd, Young at 2nd, Rivera at 1st, and he gets hit with the first pitch. That'll bring in another run. Texas gets their 3rd of the night, and it's now 11-3. So a difficult night for Chris Haney.
Well, after what Grady Little and Tony Cloninger have seen from the bullpen for a few games on this trip, this can't make them very happy.
Mensch will be the 8th hitter of the inning for the Rangers. The movement in the Boston bullpen, but so far nobody stretching or warming. There's a little bit of stirring going on down there as Haney is struggling his way through the 9th. Here's Mensch, who takes strike 1. Mensch singled to right his last time up and drove in a run. 1 for 4 tonight is the Rangers right fielder. 400 hitter and only 5 at bats in the major leagues with the bases loaded. 7 ribbies in short time. This is line down the left field line, but foul. And again, the Rangers are down to their last strike. Three hits off Haney in the inning. A walk, a hit batsman, and so far 2 runs for the Texas Rangers. One and 2 to Mensch. On the ground right side, Merlone in behind it, throws to first, and that'll do it. So the Red Sox able to gain a split in this 4-game series with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers do get 2 in the bottom of the 9th. And the Red Sox hold on to win 11-3 and better their record to 65-45. The Red Sox playing tonight here at the ballpark in Arlington in front of 29,359. And they wrap up this road trip 4-3 on the trip at the end of the 7-game trip that took them to both Anaheim and Texas. The Red Sox out hitting the Rangers 19-8 tonight. They make a winner of Pedro Martinez for the 15th time this year. Pedro is 15-2 at the victory, and his earned run average improves to 2.25. The loss goes to Aaron Mayette. He's 0-4. Again, the final. Boston 11, Texas 3. Be sure and stay with us. Coming up next, extra innings after this.